that we towards the end of the time could be with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's inside the Quran, inside Surah Al-Hashr that we find, وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever the messenger tells you to take, take it. Whatever tells you to stay away from it. This is where ittiba'ul hawa comes. Following one's lust and desires. Day in and day out we find people say, I know it's sunnah. I know I should do this. But this and that and for this reason. You know, even the side point, you read the tafsir of this ayah. Surah Al-Hashr, the 59th chapter, verse number 7 or so. Pick up tafsir of Ibn Kathir, and especially towards our respected sisters, read the tafsir of these verses. Because a famous Chinese proverb that we find, may you live in strange times. And that's exactly what we're living in at the moment. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْدِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْدِ. You believe in part of the book and reject another part of the book. We like to pick and choose those teachings which are easy for us to follow inside our lives. In this tafsir, this ayah, وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. You find a woman by the name of Ya'qub. That Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed those women. Cursed those women who pluck their eyebrows, who place spaces inside their teeth, and who tattoo themselves, or women who tattoo other women. Ya'qub said, that where is this inside the Quran? He said to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, said to her, go and read the Quran. She said, I read the Quran cover to cover, and there's no verse inside the Quran that says Allah has cursed those women who carry out such actions. وَحَقًّا, there is no verse inside the Quran. There is no verse inside the Quran that says Allah has cursed women who carry out such actions. He said to her, لَوْ قَرَأْتِ قَوْلَ اللَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى. If you read this verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'd find the answer. If you read the verse of Allah, وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever He tells you to take, take it. Whatever He tells you to stay away from it. This woman, in all respect, what did she say? She said that I see your family members doing this action. Abdullah bin Mas'ud said that if you find that my wife is doing this action, then I would divorce her. Just like today that we find, people find excuses that so-and-so does it. This person does it, that person does it. That's not the life of a Muslim, that so and such individual does it. Because if you follow the most of the people on the face of this earth, they'll take you away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise you find another lesson for our sisters that we find the adornment, the way that they display themselves. Read the ayat inside Surah An-Nur, the 24th chapter of the Quran. Read the ayat inside Surah Al-Ahzab, the 33rd chapter of the Quran. When verses came down of hijab, you find that a female companion who was not dressed appropriately would go to a fellow sister and cover herself with her dress. There may be 2 or 3 women will be wearing the cloth, the abaya, covering themselves. And they said there will be nothing but darkness that can be visualized about them. There was no tight-fitting, revealing clothing. They adorned themselves in an appropriate manner. That's what the Quran teaches us. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned to the people around him, the way they should adorn themselves. The reason why many of us don't carry out these actions is because of our lust and our desires. It's because what will people say? What will people think? What will people make comments about me? And even many of our brothers as well. The way that they dress, the way that they adorn themselves, the way they represent themselves. You find that brothers will say that I don't want to, for example, it may seem something trivial. I don't want to grow my beard because it may upset my wife. It might upset my mother. It may upset such and such individual. Don't you think that would upset Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Don't you think it would upset the Prophet alayhi salatu salam? When a person came in front of him, he's clean shaven in front of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam. فَأَعْرَضَ عَنْهُ. He turned away from him. Turned away from him. Person had shaved his beard and a long mustache, grown mustache. And he said, posed this question, Man amaraka bihada? Who ordered you to do this? He said, my Lord, my master. My master commands us to shave our beards and to leave our mustaches. The Prophet ﷺ said that my master, my Lord, has commanded the men of this Muslim ummah to grow their beards and trim their mustaches. That's what he commanded us to do. It's not an issue of, well, it's obedience to this. لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. There's never any obedience to the creation if it means to disobey the Creator. Remember that day when you stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't think about standing in front of people and being worried about people. Thus you find obedience of the Prophet ﷺ is paramount inside the Quran. The Quran mentions some 33, 34 occasions inside the Quran. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولِ. Obey Allah and obey the Messenger. To such a degree that one place inside the Quran, inside Surah An-Nisa, that we find, وَمَن يُطِعِ الرَّسُولَ فَقَدْ أَطَاعَ اللَّهِ. Whoever obeys the Messenger has obeyed Allah. It's only one place in the Quran inside Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has flipped it around. Why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala flipped it around? To make mention of the Messenger first, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after that. Because he is in a position of tashri'. He's in a position of making legislation by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if he commands us to do something, there's no choice. Unless he mentions a choice. Unless he mentions some exception or some qara'in, some qarina. He says for whoever does not want to do it or is not able to do it, whoever wants to do it. A hadith will make mention of that. But if he orders us something, as ulama of usul al-fiqh have mentioned, al-amru yufidul wujub. Whenever he commands you to do something, you have to do it. It's not about that maybe let me look at my own life. Let me weigh up my own life. Let me find some. That's what you find what's known as fatwa shopping every day in, day out. People shop around. Well, maybe you said this, maybe Shaykh so-and-so said this. Maybe you said music is haram, but so-and-so Shaykh says it's halal. Maybe you say free mixing is haram, but so-and-so Shaykh says it's halal. Maybe you say that having a partner is haram, but so-and-so Shaykh says it's allowed to find your wife. Let that Shaykh stand on the day of judgment. All of us, Ati Rahman, Farda. All of us will stand on the day of judgment on their own.